got your feel-good vibes.
99 FM.
In the news tonight, City of Windhoek secures 155 million Namibian dollar loan for new power substation to avoid load shedding.
Welcome to the Living Room Stadium. It's the FIFA World Cup. The match is about to start. Food and drink ready. There's no space left for anyone. Come on, get your lucky chair. Take your usual spot. Even the puppy has one. It's preparation time. Feel the tension in the air. And do you have everything you need to believe?
Save big this festive season only at Pep. Baby girls dresses $6.99. Younger girls get more deals that shine. Zuru surprise toys only $79.99 each. Hurry in store for so much more. Life's better with Pep.
There are data deals. And then there are Telecom Namibia. And if you want the biggest data deal of all, you gotta get 31-day Jiva, which comes with a massive 50 gigs of data. Is it even possible to use 50 gigs of data in a month? You tell us. You also get 1,000 voice minutes and 400 SMSs. To get your hands on 31-day Jiva, dial star 130 star 780 hash and enjoy a month of mega data. Whoa, that's a lot of data and SMS. How much is that? Must be expensive. No, it's only 185 Namibian dollars excluding VAT. T's and C's apply.
Telecom Namibia.
Sharing your world.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening. Welcome to News on 1. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, teenage boy drowns in Goriangkhap Dam. Man urged to end violence against women and children. Health Ministry targets to end HIV and AIDS by 2030. Agriculture is part of tourism, says Namibia Tourism Board CEO. And Business on 1, Comments Corner, Sports and the weather. An independent diver, Percy Openshaw, offered his services once again to retrieve the body of a 17-year-old boy who drowned yesterday afternoon in the Goriangkhap Dam after he allegedly went swimming with friends. Openshaw embarked on his search just after 12 p.m. and took him roughly 2 hours to search the body of Elvis Leroy Karuhab, which he eventually retrieved just before 2 p.m.
It is alleged that Karehub walked from Ochomwise Ashtalan in Windhoek in the company of 3 friends to the dam for a swim. However, shortly after getting into the water, Karehub's friend realized that he was drowning. The friends who claimed that Karehub had undressed himself before getting in the water walked back home with his clothes and shoes and informed his mother of the tragic incident. Commerce Police spokesperson Silas Shipandeni confirmed the drowning incident, adding that the victim allegedly struggled getting out of water shortly after jumping in and as a result drowned. Openshaw, who risked his own life, recently retrieved the body of a 6-year-old boy who drowned recently in Graceblock. He warned people to stay away from water to avoid losing lives. The experienced diver of 35 years explained the tactics he used to retrieve Karehub's body.
This morning, we were notified by Namibian police as well as the fire brigade city of Windhoek, Mr. Kapia. We got our equipment together and we came out. We arrived on scene. We waited for the family members and people that was together with the victim to show us exactly where. The police reserve force met us up here. They showed us where the victim was last seen. We started a search pattern that did not give us any results. And then while the police officer were discussing the matter with the 3 people that was with the victim, I decided to go next to the steps in there. And as I went down around about 29 meters, I felt something and I grabbed it and it was the foot of the victim and we brought him up. People, please stay away from water. This is the 3rd body we recovered in 2 weeks. Last week we recovered a 29-year-old on a farm outside Windhoek, 9 o'clock at night. Please, I know it's warm, but try to keep away from water, especially dams. We do not know the exact depth of the dams. We do not know the structure, if it's stone, if it's mud. So it's a problem. Sediment and stuff is a problem. If you get stuck, it's an issue. So if you want to swim, go to a municipality pool or go wherever there's lifeguards.
According to Karehub's neighbor, Charlotte Yolandi Boyce, who accompanied the distraught family to the scene, urged parents to restrict their children from swimming in dams and rivers.
All that we can say is it's very difficult. We must talk to our children, stop the kids from the dams, rivers, and take them to municipality swimming pools. Because this is the way that we are losing our families. It's all that I can say for now.
The body of the deceased was taken today to the Police Forensic Pathology Division for an autopsy report, and the next of kin are informed.
Come to Clicks for great Black Friday savings. Save 30% on Pampers Premium Care disposable nappies or pants value pack. Buy Head & Shoulders shampoo or conditioner, 2 for $115. Or buy Satiskin Bubble Bath, 3 for $199. And save 40% on Clicks 6-piece towel sets. Clicks, feel good, pay less.
A local non-profit organization is encouraging men and boys to speak out and similarly end violence against women and children. The organization, called the White Ribbon Campaign Namibia, has been involved in gender-based violence issues for the past 17 years and strives to put an end to men harming women and focus on dialogue with youth and men.
18-year-old youth ambassador of GBV at White Ribbon Campaign Namibia claimed he grew up in a violent home where he witnessed his stepfather abuse alcohol and assault his mother. He shared his testimony during the 16 days of activism against GBV because he does not want fellow children to experience what he went through.
My stepdad usually comes home drunk, and then he will beat my mom for any simple mistake. And then he turns later towards me because I'm not his son, biological son, so he turned towards me and hit me. It even came to a day where he was holding a bottle of beer, and then he threw it. He was aiming my head, but luckily my phone fell down, so I was aiming to pick up my phone, and then he missed. So I decided to join gender-based violence. I don't want any child to go through in my footsteps, and so actually the reason I joined this is to stop the violence of men towards women, because this is going to affect the young ones emotionally, and then they see their dad beating their mom at home. They'll think that that's a man's duty, and then they'll do the same thing at another kid at school, and then these things can even affect them educationally, because they'll be thinking every time when they're in the class they won't concentrate. They're just thinking towards what happened at home last night, how my dad was beating my mom, and this breaks down a lot of young youth and kids.
Founder of White Ribbon Campaign, Charles Simakumba, added that engaging men and boys is an essential component of realizing transformative change on issues of gender-based violence. Simakumba noted that men and boys in their various roles, community members, leaders and fathers, have a responsibility to play in promoting gender equality and ending violence against women and children.
As we have entered right now in the week of the 16 days of activism right now, program that are lined up for the White Ribbon Campaign Namibia. One of the program that we had last week, it was the engagement of the parliamentarians in the country to sign a pledge and a promise. As we can see them over there, their signatures are there, starting from the National Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Dr. Peter Kachavivi. He was one of the person who signed the pledge, never to commit, never to excuse, never to remain silent about and children. So far, we also have programs for the young people as well, the youth. As you can see them, they are here today with us. Yeah, they go to other youth and talk to them about the effects and the harm caused by gender-based violence, and also to play a role in our society today as young men and young boys as well. And that's what we are doing currently in White Ribbon Campaign Namibia so far.
Through the 16 days of activism against GBV, Simakumba is urging all men to pledge to end violence against women and children and be part of their campaign. Simakumba is inviting all men to pledge to end violence against women and children and their campaign during the 16 days of activism against GBV.
The Ministry of Health and Social Services is hosting a consultative meeting to review progress made in reducing new HIV infections and AIDS-related mortality in the country within the next decade. The stakeholders are guided by the 5-year National Strategic Framework for HIV and AIDS Response in the country, which was launched in 2017.
Chief Health Program Officer for HIV/STI Subdivision within the Ministry of Health and Social Services, Salomon Nathaniel, stated that although Namibia has done well in relation to HIV, the country needs to analyze its progress and address the high number of new infections and death rate experienced in 2021. At the engagement held in the capital today, Nathaniel said reducing HIV infections and AIDS-related mortality and moving the country towards ending AIDS as a public health threat by 2030 is amongst the overall goals of the National Strategic Framework.
Maybe just to inform, just to share with the House, is that Namibia did very, very well, especially in NTC, in PNPCT. That 100% of the women who attended our health facilities, they were enrolled in care. But still, besides that, we are still experiencing a high number of new infections, although we are doing very well. all our facilities are rendering HIV and are rendering ART, but still we're having high infections. We also introduced our PrEP, but still even if PrEP was introduced in the country, it is not taken up well, especially by the young people as well as by pregnant mothers. We are also experiencing high infection rates of around 28%, and also our TB, HIV mortality is also very high.
Consultant for the National Strategic Framework, Lovemore Mwanza, said the interim review will look into the achievements during the implementation between 2017 to 2022 and challenges experienced by regions that hampered the implementation. The review will also look into HIV response and will propose strategies and recommendations to be included in the new National Strategic Framework 2023 to 2027.
The key questions for this process are basically three. The first question, what are the achievements during the implementation of the 2017 to 2022 NACIP? That's the first question. Of course, we have to start with the good things. We can't just start talking about challenges. There are great things that have been done, so we have to start from there. And then we talk about the challenges and the gaps experienced by the region that hampered the implementation of the HIV activities, HIV response. And then the third part is where we propose strategies and recommendations to be included in the new NSF for the 2023 to 2027 period. So it's at three levels. What did we do well and why? Okay. What challenges did we face? What are the gaps? What are the bottlenecks and so on? And then what recommendations do we make going forward? I think my colleague here mentioned something when Dr. Bulletin was presenting about this HIV infection, right? What are the issues that are fueling HIV infection? We talked about economic issues, poverty, and something else I can't remember. So those are the issues that we want to hear, and then ask ourselves questions. How then do we address these issues? So those become recommendations for the next NSF.
The current HIV and AIDS Response National Strategic Framework ends in March 2023, and a new framework will be put in place from April 2023 for the period of 6 years. The HIV and AIDS Response National Strategic Framework is spearheaded by the Ministry of Health and Social Services and the USAID and other partners.
Got your feel-good vibes.
99 FM.
Namibia Tourism Board Chief Executive Officer Digu Nqobeb said the agriculture sector ties directly into tourism as an economic activity, with farming playing a unique role in the tourism sector's competence.
Namibia Tourism Board recently organized a week-long media trip for local journalists to the Namibian Kalahari Desert to showcase tourist destinations in the south of Namibia. Journalists visited, amongst others, the Roots Farm at Stampriet, which has various farming activities from poultry, vineyards, orchards, small stock, and a new abattoir.
Tourism has a wide perspective because many times people do think that tourism is about leisure, people going and having good time visiting lodges, but tourism is everybody's business. Therefore, the perspective is about creating awareness in terms of economic activities that are also taking place in our country. That is why you had visited, for example, the Roots in Stampriet to see or to share with the nation exactly what is happening, because agriculture is part of tourism as well.
Nqobeb explained that post-COVID, the tourism sector has slowly begun to recover in certain areas, like the northern and coastal regions of Namibia. However, the south remains untapped.
We as Namibia Tourism Board, is reaching out to the media that we must take hands and broaden this message, because many times people are looking at domestic tourism, asking questions, what does the Namibia Tourism Board do about domestic tourism? But that is very narrowed focus, or in terms of a myopic feature that people want to go to Etosha or they want to go somewhere else. But there are more things that you can do as part of tourism when you are visiting various different regions, and therefore we wanted to explore and showcase the Kalahari area, which is a very untapped and has not been on the scene within the tourism industry, because most of the information we have is about the circular route, which is Windhoek, Etosha, former Damara Land, Swakopmund, and Sossusvlei.
Furthermore, out of the places visited was the Gondwana farmhouse, which is a lodge situated nearby Stamprit. The farmhouse produces its own meat for guests that overnight at the facility. In addition, the farmhouse leases out the land surrounding the lodge to vegetable farmers from whom they source fresh produce for the lodge's kitchen.
This farmhouse is a very small facility. It's a small place where we only have 11 rooms. Out of the 11 rooms, we have 2 which are family rooms. Room 1 which have 4 beds, and room 2 have 3 beds. But from room 3 up to 11 are all twin bedrooms only. The plowing is now not as well done by us. We rented the whole area to the communal farmers here, so it doesn't belong to us anymore. So they do a lot of things. I think they do apples, grapes, all the fruits and veggies across here. All right, so like I say, farmhouse is on the same premises with the Stamprit, which is the self-sufficient center, the butchery. So all the stuff together are 39 in total. So the market mostly is got accommodation, that's the lodging, the restaurant and the bars, and then the meat as well.
The trip covered Harnas Guest Farm under Ngankuse Wildlife Conservation, 110 kilometers northeast of Gopabes, Hardap Dam Resort, Lake Wanop outside Rehoboth, and Anip Lodge, 30 kilometers from Roots Farm.
Join Script every weekday from 2 to 6 p.m. on the nation's favorite radio station, playing the best hip-hop, urban, Afro, and R&B on 99 FM.
99 FM.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. Civil society organizations continue to face severe financial difficulties due to reduced funding because of the tough economic times. As a result, this has made it difficult for CSOs to carry out their tasks efficiently. This is contained in the Institute for Public Policy Research IPPR 2021 CSO Sustainability Index report.
IPPR's Executive Director, Graham Hopwood, stated that the lack of funding from principal donors and private sector limits the effectiveness of civil society organization, hence calling for roundtable engagements about corporate social investments.
We've focused a lot on the financial issues for civil society and the difficulties. And, in a way, we're often talking around the subject. I do think there's a need for a roundtable discussion with the principal donors in Namibia, possibly even involving some of the external donors joining via Zoom or whatever, to really just be very frank about the situation for civil society. A lot of the donors don't seem to realise the difficulties that we do have, the sacrifices that we make, and I think that needs to be made clear. But perhaps more than that, the vision that we have, for the future, and what we could do if we had adequate resourcing. And similarly, I think a similar roundtable should take place with the private sector, with the finance houses, with the banks, with the major extractive industries companies, about corporate social investment. So this is now, and the ESG issues that Andre mentioned, which is a buzz phrase now amongst in corporate governance. We need to capitalise on this, but also talk frankly to the private sector that they do need, if they believe in Namibian democracy and they believe in the future development of Namibia, they need to also do some work to support civil society.
In addition, Ombudsman Basilius Dakoa, in his contribution, highlighted that the civil society plays a critical role in society and that for CSOs to be recognized and taken seriously, they should be organized.
The point is, civil society, you are a key role player, just equal role player like a government. You need to organize yourself, as he correctly said, so that you can be taken seriously. And my suggestion to that is really, I want to see a think tank from the civil society. You can only do that when you organize yourself. He made that point. Because if we have a think tank in this country from the civil society, a lot will change. Because the think tank from political parties and the think tank from various ministries, we are actually not serious with the issues. They don't even have the information because civil society is actually very, very skillful in doing survey and collecting data and these very same surveys which is the government are using in their planning.
The 2021 Civil Society Sustainability Index further shows that many CSOs serve poor communities and have limited opportunities to fundraise aggressively.
That is all we have for you. Be sure to join us again tomorrow for another edition of Business on One.
SWAPO Vice President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah and Secretary General Sophia Sheningwa emerged victorious and retained their position after being elected at the just-ended party congress today. Nandi-Ndaitwah will represent SWAPO as the presidential candidate in the national elections in 2024. Exotic encouraged the IPC leader to withdraw already from the 2024 election race. Nanjila said the future is now female and pregnant. Siamba cannot wait for the year 2024. Angola described Nandi-Ndaitwah as a senior politician who is disciplined. Johannes congratulated the vice president of SWAPO. And that's it from Comments Corner. Please continue engaging with us on our stories for broadcast only on News on One. Cyclists will compete for the first time in this year's highly anticipated Nedbank Desert Dash, which will take place from December 9th to 10th. The cycling race will feature the first ever 4-person hand cycling team and 4-person visually impaired cycling team competing in the 24-hour event. The race will cover a distance of 397 kilometers from Windhoek to Swakopmund.